What's up, guys? Back with another episode of my mission. So, hope you guys enjoy this one. Probably talking about the glacier and everything else. So here's Moreno Glacier behind me, as you can see, huge, massive growing glacier. Let's see here real quick. Just for so you can tell. People go hike the glacier, as you can see here. I mean, it's huge glacier. Like, that's super tall. And I know it's hard to tell. It's beautiful there. It's just massive glacier. It gets this like tunnel here, and the boats like to go through it. I have a video somewhere of parts of this glacier falling off, and they were just massive. Anyways, beautiful glacier, huge, miles and miles and miles and miles long, just insane. I don't know how it works or why it works, but it just does. It's pretty cool. So, my trainer and I, and then the two sisters, Sister Blasio and Sister Coombs, we all took a P day and went to the glacier, and it was just insane, utterly beautiful. Just a cool experience. It was very cold by that glacier, honestly. This is me drinking a mate by our glacier. At the beginning of my mission, we could drink mate outside of the apartment, and then as time went on, we were never allowed to share with like members or people we were teaching. Mate is a very cultural drink in Argentina. It's everybody drinks mate. It's a herbal tea, like a green tea kind of thing, herbal tea, but everybody would drink it, and it's just it has a very tea flavor. And you've got these straws. I'll show in one episode of this. You've got these straws, which they call bombichas, that have a filter on the bottom of them, and you just pour the sherba or the herb into a cup like this, and then you just pour hot water over it, and then you drink it, and it's called mate. The cup is called a mate. The leaf is called sherba. But anyways, I still drink it to this day. I drink it almost every day. It's a great drink. It's very healthy. It's very good for you, especially for gut health. And so it was just a very cool experience to be able to do that. Anyways, I got off on that tangent of the mate at the glacier. We would drink this and just stand at the glacier to keep us warm. So it was pretty cool, honestly. This is Halloween. So Argentina doesn't really celebrate Halloween, but we decided that we wanted to do something for the ward and celebrate Halloween. So you can see Coombs here in the bottom, but we all the missionaries got together, and we had a handful of the kids from the ward come, and we bought candy for them, and it was kind of a cool experience, just a little activity that the missionaries put on, because in Calafate the ward was very inactive. Most people in the ward were very inactive, and due to that, it was just really hard to get the ward to do any activities or to do anything. And so us missionaries, we really ran the ward. Like, the sacrament wouldn't be blessed without the elders. And so, and that was the thing, is like, my mission president wanted the members to be self-reliant. And so in order to help those members be self-reliant, they pulled the missionaries out of Calafate after I left, and told them that we weren't coming back. The missionaries weren't coming back until they could be self-reliant. At that time, they also rearranged the bishopric, or the mission president, or the branch presidency. They put somebody in from Rio Gallegos in there, and everything like that. Anyways, this was Halloween. This was just an activity that us missionaries put on, so the ward would come. Not very many people showed up, but it was a cute little activity. So we drew on Julieta's face and had a good time. This was one of the guys we were teaching. This guy was awesome. His name was, I believe it was Patricio. And he just was super into the church, loved learning about it. He didn't end up getting baptized. In fact, we stopped teaching him because he didn't want a whole lot to do with the church. He came to church frequently. He was amazing, great learner, very smart man. But he just didn't want to take that step into being baptized, sadly. A very cool guy. You can see in the background here, there's a hotel behind our church building, which is pretty cool. This was Hotel Michelangelo, the Hotel Michelangelo, and it was a very nice hotel. Stayed there once. So, um, here's that family again. I love this family to death, and I'm sure I'll rant and rave on it as long as I am looking at these pictures from my mission. But this is Vivian. She's amazing. Single mom of 5 daughters. And one of the daughters is in this picture here. I think Zoe's the one taking the picture, honestly. No, maybe one of the sisters. I can't remember. Anyways, Vivian and then her daughters. Oh, wait, that's Zoe. Angie must be the one taking the picture. Anyways, it's crazy. Luna, Julieta, Zoe, Adasa, and then Angie was the one taking the picture. I remember, so missionaries, those of you that are members that watch this, cool. If anybody watches this, honestly, I don't know. But as a missionary, we live by a set of rules, and we have a handbook. It was a little white handbook. We called it, in my mission, we called it La Biblia Blanca, the white Bible, because you stuck to it, and you tried not to ever not follow rules. But Vivian was kind of an exception that the missionaries made to that rule. She was one of the only active members in this area, and she fed us constantly. And so we would go over to her house pretty frequently. Most of the time I was in the area, we had this guy named Nico who would go with us to her house so that we could go in and not be breaking rules. But I remember Julieta here. This day in particular, we had activity at the church, and we were walking home, and Julieta kept running in the street, and there were cars. And so I remember I just picked her up, and I just held her all the way home, and I walked her home because Vivian at the time was working 2 jobs. She was working in a hotel, in that hotel that was right behind us, in the Michelangelo Hotel. And she was working long hours, and her hands were all messed up from something that happened. I can't remember. Anyways, she was walking, and she had her arms full of groceries, and so she couldn't carry the groceries and the baby, and then her daughters also had groceries in their arms, so I picked her up and I walked with them all the way home. They lived right around the corner from our apartment, but I remember that was one of the rules I broke in the mission, was picking up Julieta and carry her home. But I felt like it was spirit of the law versus letter of the law kind of thing. Those of you that serve missions will know what that's saying, but it was just something that I felt needed to be done. And so yeah, that's that. Oh my goodness. I can't remember where we got Swedish fish from. Somebody sent us Swedish fish. I'm not sure if I got a package or what, but we got Swedish fish. And Swedish fish don't exist in Argentina, but that's one of my favorite treats. I love Swedish fish. Anyways, I can't remember. I brought them to Vivian, or Whiting, Elder Whiting brought them to Vivian. I can't remember the full story here, but Vivian was so excited because she's from Brazil, and she loves Swedish fish. And so when we brought them to her, she literally like almost cried. She was so excited. There's my name tag. My mom would just post some random pictures on here when I wouldn't send enough pictures home to put these in here. Oh, okay. Now that I just looking at this story here, I just happened to glance over and look at this. My mom posted this picture of my name tag because when I was out probably 2 months into the mission field at the time, and I lost my name tag. You have these name tags that slide onto your shirt, and then you have other name tags that have a green clip, magnetic clip, and they clip through your jacket or whatnot. This was the name tag that had the clip on the back of it, and I lost this name tag. I could not find it anywhere for weeks. And you have 2 name tags. You have the one that goes in your shirt pocket and the one that clips on the outside. And so for a long time, I just didn't have a name tag on the outside of my jacket, which we always try to have our name tags always on us. And I could not find my name tag for weeks. And I went on divisions for zone conference with my mission, or with our zone leader, and we were waiting to cross the road, and the roads are crazy. The traffic system is crazy. In Rio Gallegos, it is not really street lights, so everybody just goes all the time. So you can't just wait for a street light. And so we waited for a gap in the cars. We ran across the street, and I go to run, and I was standing on gravel, and I didn't realize it. And so I went running, and running in church shoes is already a bad idea, but I slip on the gravel and I go down and I stand up and I go to run again and I fell again. And that second time that I stood up, I heard crunch and I look back and my name tag came out of nowhere. The name tag that I'd been missing for weeks was on the ground, broken in half. I'd stepped on it. I'd broken it. Turns out, I don't know how, but that name tag fell down and I had my pants, I had a gray suit. My gray suit pants were, they were tailored before I left on my mission. And the name tag had fallen down into the pants, and where the little flap was, it had fallen down into the flap, and the magnet got stuck, and it just stuck there. And I had no idea. And I mean, your pants are supposed to be dry clean, so we tried not to clean them very often. So it just turned out that the name tag was in my pants for who knows how long. I also didn't wear my gray pants very often because they weren't super comfortable, but especially because it was super muddy in my area. And so I tried to keep one suit super clean. So my gray suit was generally my church suit. My blue suit was my tracking suit. Anyways, so that's where my name tag was. So I fell and I found my name tag, but it got broken in half. After that, they gave me a couple name tags with just stickers over. It was just name tags that were excess that belonged to other missionaries, and they just put like a black sticker with my name over the top of it until I got actual more name tags. In fact, I still have one of my name tags. Do I have it right here? I do not. I have my scriptures back here. Anyways, I don't have my name tag over there, but I still have all my name tags. In fact, I still have one of them in the plastic. So, kind of cool. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. So, right after that zone conference, we had we had transfers. Transfers happen at once every 6 weeks in my mission, and you'd get a new companion, or you'd stay, or you'd get a new area, this, that, or the other. So this is my second companion, Elder Peterson. And one day we're walking in that little hallway with the artisans. This is Elder Peterson's first day in the area. Elder Peterson is one of the luckiest people I've ever met in my entire life. And this is one of those experiences of why he's so lucky. But we were walking down that hall where the artisans were, and all of a sudden I felt somebody grab my shoulder, and they said, "Eldres, ¿cómo están?" And I look back and it's this guy here. And I was like, "Bien." And he said, "Are you guys," and then he spoke English. He said, "Are you guys from the US or are you guys Argentine?" And we're like, "Oh, we're from the US." And he goes, "Oh, I'm so glad to hear that." He's like, "I'm from Sandy, Utah." And he goes, I served my mission here. Excuse me. I served my mission here years ago. And I remember just being like, "Well, that's awesome." And he goes, "Are you guys busy right now?" We're like, "Well, we're just going to go grab some lunch. We just got done with an appointment." And he's like, "Please let me take you to lunch." And so they took us to the nicest, like, asado place. Asado is like a traditional Argentine, like, barbecue kind of thing. They took us like to the super, super nice Argentine asado place. And you can see here, this is an asado plate that they bought for us, and he very, very kind, bought us dinner, which is so kind to us, told us of his mission. This is, I believe, his mother, and then her friend or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And then this is his wife, but it was just such an experience to have that happen. It was very, very cool, amazing experience that we got to spend with them. I'm trying to remember Susan Noble. That's her. She's from Boise. Rob Noble was his name. And Uban Noble, I believe, from Sandy. They were so, so kind to us. And it was just, what an amazing experience that we had. So this is when I got my new companion, Elder Peterson. Awesome, awesome elder. Great, very gung-ho, happy guy. I really, really loved being companions with Elder Peterson as well. There's another picture of us with at dinner with them, or at lunch with them. There's your traditional Argentine meat. These here are intestines, cow intestines, and it's called chinchurrin, I believe. Yeah, chinchurrin or chinchurron. And honestly, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, that is utterly disgusting. And they bring them out and they're just steaming hot. And I remember cutting into it and I was like, I'm willing to try everything once. And I ate it and I was like, oh my gosh. It's just, if they're cooked well and they're cleaned out well, And Argentina, they don't waste any part of the cow at all. But if it's cooked well, you cut into it and it just cuts pretty easily like butter, and you eat it, and it's just the most like savory part of any meat that I've ever eaten. It's really good. I really, really enjoy it. So it kind of sounds gross. It's cow intestine, but that's what it is. So here we are. This guy, I remember this guy actually. His name was Rich Priest. We all thought that was super funny. Also remember the church. They were just there on an excursion. He'd served in Japan. They'd both served in Japan. They met on their mission. And it's funny, the details that I can remember now, 5 years later, I still remember these details. But they asked for us to give them a tour. We were actually on our P day, and we were just walking through some of the stores in downtown, and he walked up behind us. He's like, "Are you guys elders?" And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, well, we're visiting from Utah. We're curious if there's a church here." And we're like, "Yeah, there is." He's like, "Can you show it to us?" And so we took him to the church. We walked him through the church. And then we walked him through a couple other parts of town, and they were very, very kind. And I believe they offered to buy us dinner and everything, or they did buy us dinner, something like that. But they were awesome also. Very cool people. Here's Bear again. The dog I told you followed us everywhere. And this was Elder Peterson and I took a picture of the lake, and you can see super low cloud cover, just a beautiful, beautiful day. Very windy day, very cold day. In Calafate, or in Argentina, because my mission area was super, super windy, we'd actually get stuck indoors. We would get a text from the mission president, be like, you guys can't go outside today. It's too dangerous. And why it would be dangerous, actually, funny thing is, in Argentina, they would build houses what they called chapa, which is like a wavy sheet metal. And that chapa was known for literally flying off roofs when it got too windy. It would pull the screws out of roofs and it would go flying. And it was dangerous. It killed people. Not very often, but it did kill people. And so we wouldn't be allowed to go outside if it was over like 70-mile-an-hour winds, which thank heavens, because those days were miserable. Calafate was also kind of a crazy area. It would have, two of my areas were like this. Ushuaia, my third area, was also like this. We called it the area of four seasons. In a day, it would get hot. In the afternoon, or in the morning, it'd be warm. In the afternoon, it would be rainy. In the evening, it would be hot and windy, or cold and windy. And then at night, it would snow. And so it was just like a rotating cycle of like every day it would be that way. It's just so bizarre. Another picture of me with Calafate Lake in the background, or the Argentine Lake. This was Thanksgiving. We were allowed, my mission president allowed us, even though it's not an Argentine holiday, it's a U.S. holiday, he allowed us to participate and have a Thanksgiving. So we all got together in Rio Gallegos. We all took the bus ride 6 hours, and we had a zone Thanksgiving, which that meant so much to me. I remember I was sitting there on Thanksgiving Day, and we're all sitting there, and I remember just missing my family. It was the first holiday without my family. And I remember the sisters were singing and playing the piano, and I was just sitting in a chair up against a wall, and I could not just help it. I just started sobbing. I was just like, I miss my family. Like, I'm glad I'm here in Argentina doing this and serving the Lord, but wow, I really just miss my family. And it wasn't a sob, I shouldn't say, but I got teary and got emotional. I was like, wow, I miss my family, and I just had never up until that point, I'd been on my mission probably 5 or 6 months by that point. I'd never experienced that. I wasn't one to just really miss home. I was there for the experience. I was having a good time, but I was just like, wow, I miss my family. So it was a great experience, great experience. And I'm glad that I had to stay away from family for 2 years, because it was a very good growing experience for myself. So that's that. This is what we had for our Thanksgiving. They didn't have turkey or anything, so we ate a pig leg. I ate the hoof, actually. It was pretty disgusting. Very, very hard meat. This Elder Febo, we just literally went to the butcher there in town. We asked, can we have a pig leg? And sure enough, sold us pig leg. There's the hoof. I told you I ate the hoof. So there's my companion, Sister Coombs, laughing hysterically at me. And I tried to cut it with that knife. It did nothing. So for this, I actually made deviled eggs, and everybody went crazy over the deviled eggs. It was pretty funny. There's my deviled eggs. Everybody loved them. So Alrighty, guys. Well, I think I'm going to end that episode here. And I appreciate you guys if you guys are watching. I'm filming a lot of these all at once, so I'll probably release them over time. And so I really don't know if anybody's watching them. If not, it's really for myself. I'm having so much fun just making these videos for myself. But I loved my mission experience, and it was just such a fun time for me. And so I love repeating these stories, especially because I decided to do this, and I'm reiterating from a previous episode. I decided to do this because I went to tell my wife a story about my mission a couple weeks ago, and I realized I forgot the names of the people and kind of what happened in the story, and I was like, I'd never experienced that in my life. Not that I have dementia or anything or Alzheimer's, which are very serious, but I was just sitting there and I realized if you don't tell stories or write down stories, you forget them. So I decided that I was going to video all my stories and put it on YouTube. So that's what I'm doing. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys are enjoying and watching if you are, and I'll see you guys next time.